Hello and welcome to 72 Dragons Health. Today we had the pleasure of speaking with Mike Eisenberg. Mike Eisenberg is the creative director, video editor, partner, and documentary filmmaker at Tall Tale Productions, Chicago, Illinois, United States. He has completed his Bachelor of Arts in Journalism from Marietta College, Ohio, and his degree in film directing and applied sciences from the Tribeca Flashpoint Media Arts Academy, Chicago, Illinois. Mike has been involved in documentaries such as To Err is Human, a patient safety documentary, and The Peach, Patient Safety's New Generation. Mike also enjoys opportunities as speaker to convey his message regarding the current progress in medicine and healthcare services, initiating thought-provoking conversations surrounding multidisciplinary healthcare collaborations. His documentaries are available on Amazon Prime, iTunes, and Blu-ray for audiences to watch and think about the efficacy of healthcare systems in ensuring patient treatment and safety. My name is Dr. Pietro Aparicio from 72 Dragons Health. Mike Eisenberg, welcome to this interview. We are indeed honored to have you with us today.
Thank you. I appreciate being here.
Mike, the documentary To Err is Human is based on real-life experiences and 20 plus years of advocacy for patient safety. What inspired you to film this documentary with your colleagues at Tall Tale Productions?
2016 time where we started production on the first film, To Err is Human. We're thinking about what would be our the next project, and we really wanted to sink our teeth into a feature film, but my father was the director of the Agency for Healthcare Research and Quality, AHRQ for short, until he passed away in 2002. And at that time I was 17 years old. I didn't know a lot about what he was doing, but I knew that it was important. I knew that a lot of people counted on him, and that he was there in the room when major decisions were being made from the Clinton administration about healthcare and about patient safety. Again, I was 17. I didn't really understand a lot about what was going on. So fast forward to 2015, and I'm a filmmaker now, and I'm looking for a story, and I hear all this news about AHRQ possibly being defunded. And this is every year they're struggling for funding to do the things that they do so well. And so we decided to take some time to pursue that story. We interviewed people that worked with my father. We interviewed people who worked at the agency in the present day. And while doing that, we realized there's a much bigger story that hasn't really been told in this form of media, documentary, specifically about patient safety and medical harm, medical error. If you really look at healthcare documentaries, they're usually about the big sort of top line issues. And this is one that people don't know a lot about. So we took it upon ourselves to spend the next 3 years at that point making and filming a documentary, getting all the best of the best on screen to talk about what does patient safety look like? What does it mean when people are putting the work in behind the scenes to make healthcare safer and more? So we took that challenge on, and the reception was so strong. It was really good. People in healthcare really wanted to share the film with their colleagues and with their networks. We were screening it all over the world, 12 different countries, and then COVID happened and screening sort of stopped, right? In the years are all now sort of blending together, but a couple of years ago, we heard from the Jewish Healthcare Foundation, a foundation in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, that's focused on a lot of different areas of healthcare, but they have been putting a lot of work into funding startup competitions and hackathons across the country to make sure that there was a track in there, a focus on patient safety solutions. And they wanted to see a documentary about that topic. We talked about what that would mean and what it would look like, how much it would cost, and we had this great collaborative discussion that turned into them being our chief funding, or our only funding organization to help us pursue the sequel to Err is Human, which we now call The Pitch, and focus on the future of healthcare. the technology that's being used to make it better and safer, and what it looks like to actually try to be an innovator in this space.
Thank you for sharing. Moving from a white paper to a documentary. So how do you explore the patient's provider relationship through the camera lens? What is your approach to capturing the real-time patient-provider interactions in your health-related documentaries, such as To Err is Human?
It's tough to do that. Hospitals hear the word documentary, they typically slam their doors shut and put bolts on, right? They don't want cameras in. And with good reason. It's a very sensitive place. A lot of information that hospitals are responsible for keeping safe, and patients are going through extremely emotional and personal events usually when they're in the hospital. It's not a good place for filmmaking. And it shouldn't be. But I think because our focus is positive, our focus is let us tell the story that no one else is telling. It's the work that you're doing, the success stories of patient safety efforts. I think we've had a lot better reception to coming into a hospital area or other sort of healthcare venues. But the patient experience and their relationship with their clinicians is really important to capture on camera. In the first film, In To Err is Human, we were able to show what happens when a patient is met with transparency from a hospital. We showed how they're training, how one hospital in America is training their physician assistants to talk about when a mistake occurred, how to actually have that conversation, which is so vital and not really something that you see a lot, at least weren't for a while, because hospitals' first instinct was to suppress and sort of hide the fact that they were not perfect. That's become a little bit more of a reality for people, knowing that humans make mistakes and that's going to happen in a hospital setting. And what people want is the collaboration. They want to feel part of their own healthcare experience.
Can you tell us about the main plot of your documentary, The Peach, Patient Safety's Next Generation? How was the experience working on this film production?
It was great. A little different than the first one. The first one, we were fully independent. We started with whatever we could muster from family and friends, and then we got a couple of grants from healthcare organizations. But it took us 3 years to make that. Everything we learned in the process of making that film and continuing our careers as filmmakers with client projects and other things, I think helped us really streamline the new one, which we wanted, because it's about technology, which is so fast moving. We didn't want to linger for 3-4 years making it. We wanted to make it with some sort of, expedition. And so we made it within a year, and the focus was really, okay, how do we tell the story of technology in healthcare without it feeling like the same movie we just made? What we do in the new film is we show real world examples of technology and innovation in healthcare that's making it safer, from a surgeon in Michigan that's using VR headsets to replace anesthesia when it's not fully necessary to put somebody under, all the way up to command centers, which are giant rooms in a hospital that are sort of operating behind the scenes to make sure that everything's working smoothly, that hospital beds are empty when they need to be and filled when they need to be, that the information is going where it needs to go, and taking a lot of that burden off of the clinicians so that they can focus on the care of the patient directly. There's a large gamut here that we cover in the film of examples of real world things that are happening, but what makes it special is we'll call him our main character, Ritam Ganguly. He founded a company called Alethea, which is an AI machine learning tool that helps identify high-risk pregnancies at the earliest stages of pregnancy rather than the very end of it when they're about to give birth, which is what most hospitals will do. And so this gives doctors an opportunity to have a relationship with their patient and develop a plan to make sure that this pregnancy is healthier and is successful at the earliest stages. This is a little bit of sort of less obvious version of patient safety, but it's a very good example of how to make healthcare work the way it's supposed to work. And the innovation itself is interesting, but it's the path that he's taking to get it into healthcare that's so fascinating. And I think he's a great example because he's 22 years old. He quit medical school before he even started. He got in. He decided not to go to pursue this innovation because he thought he could make a bigger difference creating a tool that could be used globally rather than helping one patient at a time.
your experience as a filmmaker, so you can see it from a different perspective. What are the attitudes of healthcare systems toward new innovations in technology? Are these systems making progress in adapting to the current patients, or you see this as very challenging?
Uh, Healthcare has never been short of implementing new innovations, right? It's always been on the cutting edge of technology because it's its own world. And when from the nurses of the 1800s all the way up to the cardiac surgeons today, there's amazing things being used in healthcare. But when we're talking about patient safety, I don't see it as often, right? Patient safety is more about the culture, it's more about the mindset. But I think that we've reached a sort of boiling point of that, and we need to start to bring in innovations. The hospitals that really prioritize patient safety, and there are a lot of them, it's not enough. The ones that do are already on this, right? And they're already embracing new ideas, new technologies.
Now, can you tell us about any interesting and exciting new projects in the pipeline at Tall Tale Productions?
Well, we are very focused right now on the release of the new film. It only came out, as of this recording, which is about a month ago. And so, our focus is many different things right now. But when it comes to the patient safety and the healthcare stories, we could have made one movie and just moved on, but we are in it now. I'm still going around speaking about patient safety. I'm going to hospitals with the film and having discussions with clinicians and executives about how they can embrace the ideas that we put in the movie. And I'll continue to do that as long as there's not another global pandemic to stop me. But the key here is to never rest, like I just said, right? It's to keep this story going. And I think, in terms of the narrative of it, we just told what does the future look like. But I do think that one big missing piece of what we've been able to put on screen so far is the experience of the clinician. We've talked about the patient experience. We've talked about how to make healthcare safer for the future. But I think a big missing piece, and what you never really hear about, is how the clinician is affected when harm occurs. Some people call it second victim. That term has sort of fallen out of favor a little bit, with good reason, I think. But, burnout is another great term that's familiar to many about what is happening in healthcare systems. We're losing nurses, we're losing doctors to other jobs that care more about their employees, that care more about your well-being as a person in that career. And I think a big part of that is patient safety, and is looking out for the clinician, making sure that their well-being is being attended to. It would be interesting to pursue that story.
Wonderful. The power of filmmaking, it really has a great impact. Yeah. Mike Eisenberg, we're very grateful for your contribution to the field of patient safety, your creative expertise and advocacy for overall well-being really make a difference in a significant impact. At 72 Dragons Health, we wish you the best in your future endeavors and look forward to your upcoming projects. Thank you very much.
Thank you.